currency does not equal relevancy, in my opinion, when it comes to metal. I grew up without cable TV or a radio. So the only exposure I had to music was my mom playing country radio in the car, my dad's bluegrass and classic rock. That was it. That was all I knew. And so when I was almost 10, we moved. When we moved, I got my own room and I got my own radio. It was then that I discovered there was a whole world of music out there. Pop radio. Popular musical artists at the time were Britney Spears, Smash Mouth, Savage Garden, Destiny's Child, Bare Naked Ladies, Christina Aguilera, Usher, all the boy bands, stuff like that. It was 1998. In short, I loved all of it. I was like a rabid wolf. I finally had control over what was going into my ears, and I was just devouring all of it. And because this is what pop radio was feeding me, I embraced pop and alternative equally. And then in about 7th or 8th grade, I started tuning into the rap radio station, and I was really digging like Ludacris, Ashanti, Outkast, Nas, stuff like that. And alternately, I was also getting into pop punk like Blink-182 and New Found Glory. But anyway, I have a point here, and my point is that I thought that all these things were going to last forever. These artists I mentioned, like, where are they now? Sure, a lot of them are still kicking it, but most of them are not in the forefront anymore. And some of them are embraced as like charmingly vintage. I thought they'd be forever. I would have a favorite song. Let's say it's Foolish by Ashanti. The radio would play all the time, like people were talking about it. It was just changing the world, like it was a good time. And then over time, I would notice that the song isn't getting played as much. And then eventually it just doesn't get played at all anymore. And I remember being confused by that phenomenon. I would think, well, what happened? Where did it go? It took me a long time to understand that pop is not forever. It wasn't designed to last forever, and the world never intended to listen to it forever. As a kid, it was breaking my heart that the best songs ever would just get phased out. I did not understand that this is just how it worked. I didn't understand this for a long time. Pop culture is cyclical. It cycles in and cycles out. Sometimes it cycles back through as a throwback, but it comes and goes. Pop is temporary. Pop is trendy. Pop is a fad. And when I say pop, I'm just referring to pop music as in popular music as in mainstream music. And yeah, when you go back and listen to it, like it does sound dated a lot of the time. Even cheesy or tacky. Okay, so like in college, like later years in college, my favorite song was Lolly Lolly by 3 6 Mafia. You could not tell me any different. I was on fire for that song, and I was like, I don't care what all you jerks do with your future, but my future is going to be me and Lolly Lolly, favorite song. And I did hold on to it for several years, but honestly, when I play it now, it just doesn't sound as good as it used to. And I hate to admit that. But like, how did that happen? And a little side note here, it wasn't even until college that I understood that fast fashion was a thing. That if I go into Target and see a dress that I like, I won't be able to come back in 2 weeks and get that dress. And they won't ever have that dress in stock again. I didn't realize that's how a lot of stores work. And I was very disappointed to learn that that's what stores do. I guess I'm just a loyal person, you know, like if I like a dress, I want me and that dress to stay together forever. If I like a song, I want me and that song to be together forever. But luckily for us nowadays, we can go back and listen to anything. We don't depend on the radio or the TV to feed us our music. And I guess we could bought things back then, but now like we can listen to anything on demand. So now we have the choice to keep certain music in our lives. And I do that. I still remember many of my favorite songs. Roll Out by Ludacris, Here's to the Night by Eve 6, Never Let You Go by Third Eye Blind, And I keep a lot of that in my active listening. I still listen to Limp Bizkit regularly. Don't make fun of me. And if you go visit one of these old songs on YouTube and scroll down through the comments, you'll see a lot of comments like, who's still listening in 2019? Or, oh my gosh, this song is still awesome in 2019. And a lot of times you think to yourself like, yeah, it is still awesome. Like, it held up really well. Or at the very least, you can think to yourself like, oh, this is so cutely 90s. Or, oh, this is so nostalgic. But I want to say that metal is different. Metal is not trendy, and it's not about a phase or a fad. I like to think that when metal is created, it's created to last, to leave a legacy, to make a contribution, to become a classic. Not to temporarily entertain people while they drive with their friends to go get a milkshake and one day to just be cast aside like a disposable. Metal is not created to contrast with the future. Sure, you'll hear 90s influences or 2000s influences that correspond with the time in which it's made. But at least in my opinion, it doesn't ever become tacky or dated. So, with all that being said, that is why I tend to like raise an eyebrow when people will leave a comment on a classic metal video and be like, I'm still listening to this in 2019. Yeah, of course you are. We all are. Or just like something really monumental and they're like, wow, this is still good in 2019. Yeah, it is. I seriously think I saw a comment like that on an 80s King Diamond video recently. I mean, that's kind of like saying, wow, it's 2019 and Jesus Christ is still awesome. Wow, it's 2019 and Gandhi's still a great guy. And that's what I really like about metal, at least in my opinion, is that it seems to be made to last. So that's why when someone left a comment on my last Sky video, it like frustrated me. They were like, I don't know why you showed her a Nightwish song with the singer that left 14 years ago. Because it's good? I showed her Death too. Does that mean I shouldn't have shown her a band that's not together anymore because one of them is dead now? Like, should I just not be showing her things that aren't current? That singer died almost 28 years ago. You should probably not show her that. Anyway, I'm a nice girl. I'm a nice girl. So I responded that currency does not equal relevancy, in my opinion, when it comes to metal. Now, I know that they probably left that comment because they prefer floor, but they used age as the reason for their comment. Instead of saying, you should play her floor because I like that better, they said, you shouldn't play Tarja because she left the band. So, because of that, we're going to assume that this person really is concerned with the age of a song. Who cares if Tarja left 14 years ago or however many years ago it was? Who cares? Her work with Nightwish was really good. Should we just throw it away because she's not with the band anymore? This 14 years thing is not an argument. I've been seeing this a lot lately, and especially like as I'm getting older, I just hate how people like stamp everything with an age. They stamp people and things and media with this age, and that age is what determines their value and their relevancy and their relatability. And that, I just feel like that doesn't apply in metal, at least from my perspective. Trends and cycles are part of our culture, and I get it, and I accept it, and I go with the ebb and the flow of things coming in and out. It took me a long time to accept that, but even so, that is not, I don't consider that to apply to metal. I thought of it like this. So when a band creates an album, it's like they built a stone statue, and they put this statue in a garden full of other statues made of stone, and it's there to last and to be a part of that garden forever. It is a monument. So my point is, of course you're still listening in 2019. It's good. My other point is, yeah, I'm going to show her metal that's 14 years old. Sorry. But who knows what the future will hold. In reality, metal is not very old. So, we now, a lot of us aren't listening to music from the 1930s and the 1940s in the same way that we might be listening to something from the 80s, right? So it makes me wonder what it'll be like 50 years from now. Will people still be listening to metal? Will metal still exist? Will we still exist? Just kidding. But it could phase out. The stone statues could crumble one day. But personally, I like to think that this music will be revered and enjoyed for a long time to come. It's crazy that an album you spin all the time, you'll get a notification saying like, this album turned 20 years old today. And I just think like, I couldn't tell you that. Like, I can't tell. It's timeless. And I'm not tired of it, I hope that made some kind of sense. Let me know your thoughts if you have any thoughts on the subject. But the way I see it, no metal will ever be too old to listen to.